Chair Conant. Commissioner Boomgarden. Commissioner Cochran.
Present.
Commissioner Elphick.
Present.
Commissioner Munger.
Here.
Commissioner Wooten.
Here.
Commissioner Ziegenmeyer. Commissioner Baines.
Present.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a
Mr.
quorum.
Chairman,
Moving on with
Excuse me, Mr.
pledge of
Chairman.
allegiance. Would you like to lead us in the pledge?
Yes, I will.
I just want to make note for the record that our alternate public member, Manny Cardoza, is in the audience.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Pledge allegiance.
Thank you, everyone, for coming. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second by Baines and Munger. And roll call, please. Or let's do aye. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Minutes. Is there any questions about the minutes? Do we have a motion?
Motion.
We have a motion by Cochran for the minutes. Is there a second?
I wasn't here,
Anybody would like to second it?
I guess you counsel, I was not here. I was in a recuse
have to
myself, but I
be.
guess I could still second a
Yes,
motion.
it's a ministerial act, and so you didn't have to be present at the last meeting.
Okay.
All right, second.
Second by Baines. Okay. All in favor?
but.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passed unanimously.
One abstention, please,
Oh,
because I wasn't present.
one abstention.
Actually,
Two abstentions?
I wasn't here either.
3 abstentions? Okay.
I wasn't here either.
We have a majority. I think, I don't think we're,
Yeah, because it's a ministerial act, you didn't have to be here, so you can vote.
Okay.
Oh, that's what I thought.
so anybody in favor? Let's do that again. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passed unanimously. Okay, public comment. Members of the public will be allowed and invited to address the commission on any matter of interest to the public that are within, or were not on the agenda or appeared at the time of consideration, not to exceed 5 minutes. Pursuant to the Brown Act, commission may not take any action on items not listed on the posted agenda, but, wrong page, may add to a future agenda matter brought up under public comment for approval at action at the future meeting. Okay, any public comment? Seeing none, moving on. Business item number 5, consideration of adoption of executive committee officer to enter an independent contractor agreement between Sutter County local agency formation consideration and RSG Incorporated preparing a comprehensive county municipal service review and sphere of influence update for the County Fire Association in Sutter County. Doug, would you like to address this one first?
Of course. So to update the commission, as you'll remember at our last meeting, we came to you and we informed the commission that we thought we had not received a response to the RFP. However, following the May 9th meeting, we found that we did in fact receive a timely response, but it had been caught up in the spam filter. And so, and that is the proposal from RSG. So RSG has been in business since 1979. Their principal, who would be the lead on this item, has been with the company since 1991. You might remember that the commission formed an ad hoc committee made up of Commissioners Elphick, Conant, and Boomgarden. And on July 1st, the ad hoc committee met with Commissioners Elphick and Boomgarden, and it's my understanding that Commissioner Conant had a farming emergency he had to attend to. And he was unable to make it. So the commission did consider the proposal a couple questions that came from the ad hoc committee were, one, how long the company had been in business, but two, they were really interested, I felt, in hearing back from some of the companies they had worked for in the past. And so we set forth and contacted both the Sutter LAFCO executive officer, as well as this morning, in fact, I talked with Los Angeles LAFCO executive officer Paul Novak, who I met a few months back at the LAFCO conference. Both had very positive things to say about RSG. Both firms, or both counties, had dealt with fire MSRs with RSG. So they have that experience both in for very rural fire, but also very urban. So their experience is broad. And so with that, the committee recommended that we bring this forward to the full commission for consideration. I would note that prior to bringing this forward, when we received the proposal, we did circulate this out to both the county fire chief at the time, as well as Yuba City fire chief. And so they also had an opportunity to comment on it with no concerns expressed. So with that, we are bringing forward this proposal to accept any public input, and then second, authorize the executive officer to enter into the agreement with Sutter LAFCO and RSG to prepare the comprehensive countywide municipal service review and sphere update for all fire agencies in the county. Now, we do have a representative from RSG participating via Teams, Brandon Fender, if you have any questions that the commission wishes to ask. Thank you.
First of all, Doug, didn't they also reach out to Chief Shalowitz at one point?
Yes, absolutely. In fact,
Do a little bit of homework ahead of time before the.
so Chief Shalowitz had brought RSG. He didn't know that, he couldn't remember the name of the firm, but he had talked with, I believe, a fire chief up in Siskiyou County, and RSG came highly recommended to former Chief Shalowitz.
Oh, okay.
And he passed that information on to me.
Okay. Is there any questions from the board at this? Right, we're going to ask that in a second.
I just wanted to say that I know that Mark's not here, but one of his biggest concerns was that this company be aware of the EMT, the special services, the emergency services that the fire department provides. And I think, didn't you come up with, Doug, that it was like almost 80% of the fire department's activity is public service other than fire. So, and he seemed to feel that this was fit the bill. So I know that I felt very comfortable with this proposal.
Any other comments or questions from the board? Or commission, excuse me? No? Is there any member of the public that wish to ask questions of our RSG or questions of the commission? Seeing none?
So, Mr. Chairman, I would note that after the ad hoc committee and noting the concern that Commissioner Boomgarden had expressed, I actually specifically brought that up to RSG, and we talked about that they had dealt with similar situations where 70, 80% has been EMS calls, and so they're very familiar with that.
Okay. Any other, what's the pleasure of the commission?
I move to approve.
Motion. Motion by Baines, this is Nita. Second? All right, let's do a roll call on this one. Yeah. Well, they want to address that, Doug? The bid was what, 91,000?
94.
Yes, 94,000.
94,000.
And I would note that that is less than what the commission appropriated, so it's under budget.
Right.
Appropriated 100,000.
Let's do a roll call.
Commissioner Baines?
Aye.
Commissioner Cochran?
Yes.
Commissioner Elphick? Commissioner Munger? Commissioner Wooten?
Yes.
And Chair Conant.
Yes, aye.
Thank you.
Okay. That's number 5. Number 6. Consideration resolution consenting to Sutter County Council to advise and represent the Sutter County and the Sutter County LAFCO, waiving any potential conflicts of interest authorization and executive officer signed the staff services agreement continue to utilize county council as LAFCO council. And Doug, do you want to take this off, and then Bill maybe could take it off after that?
Certainly.
Or do you want to do it and vice versa? Thank you, by the way.
Okay, so first I wanted to reintroduce to the commission Bill Vanasek. He worked at Sutter County previously, I think up until 2019. Yes. Various roles, departed as assistant county counsel and then became county counsel for another county. And then you had a 5-year sabbatical. Yes. And returned just recently. And so Bill used to function as LAFCO counsel with me in my role back up until around 2016 when John Benoit and Scott Brown took over. So Bill is very familiar with Sutter County and Sutter LAFCO issues. So welcome back. Thank you. So for this item, it was recently brought to my attention that the contract that the county and LAFCO had entered into for legal counsel was only set for 1 year. And so we rushed to get this item on your agenda for today. And so what it does is it would extend the contract, backdate it to July 1, and would continue until the contract is terminated by either party, either LAFCO or the county. Additionally, I think this is probably most important, is that, county council, they are governed by what's commonly called California Rules of Professional Conduct, which includes rules regarding conflicts of interest. And so county council must receive acknowledgement from both parties, LAFCO and the county, that the county and LAFCO have been advised of potential conflicts of interest of each party's respective interests. And nevertheless, both the county and LAFCO want county council to represent them. And both parties are completely free to seek independent counsel at any time, even if the resolution is adopted. So it's more of just advising both parties that conflicts of interest could arise, but we understand that, but we still wish to use county counsel for LAFCO counsel purposes. This item appeared on the Board of Supervisors agenda back 2 days ago, so on the 9th. And it was on the consent agenda and was approved without issue. So we're bringing this forward to LAFCO to authorize county council to represent LAFCO through the resolution which acknowledges the potential conflict of interest and waiving any actual or potential conflict of interest concerning representation, and then authorize the executive officer to sign the staff services agreement between the county and LAFCO to continue county council as LAFCO council. And with that, I would either turn it over to Bill or back to the commission.
Let's have Bill say a few words. And then I want to bring some comments too if he doesn't cover my bases.
County Council's office has traditionally represented LAFCO. The problem that we have is I don't believe that a conflict of interest resolution has ever been approved. This became an issue when I was in Glenn County. We had a conflict of interest waiver in place. However, an individual who was unhappy with the commission's decision on an annexation filed a protest, and one of the allegations was that county council had a conflict of interest because I had represented the county and also LAFCO. I hadn't represented the county on that particular issue, and we had the conflict of interest waiver in place. But since that time, what I've done is every special district, every commission that I represent, I have both boards sign this conflict of interest waiver. It's a requirement under the rules of professional conduct in order for me to do that representation. So what I'm basically doing is making a formal process something that had been an informal process in the past. And by doing it this way, we are ensuring that everybody is aware of the potential conflict of interest and are given an opportunity to either accept it or reject it. And in the event that the commission elected not to waive the conflict of interest, then the commission could retain other counsel that doesn't represent both entities, and that individual would be able to provide legal advice.
Thank you, Bill. And by the way, the board, our board of supervisors, just at the last meeting, what was it, 8 different groups from cemetery districts, reclamation district, fire districts, all got new forms just like this approved. Correct, Bill?
It was the Fairview Cemetery District. They actually have, we had the process go through, and so now I can represent them. Every time that I receive a request, there is another cemetery district that made a request. I'm submitting the same resolution to them as well. And so this is something that will be coming to the board on regularly. And then once, these are evergreen conflict of interest waivers, and so therefore, once we have them in place, then the county counsel's office can continue to represent on and off as the commission chooses in the future, and we never have to worry about it again.
Okay. Thank you, Bill. Any questions from the commission? Yeah.
Through the chair, just a couple questions. When you were on this sabbatical, did you keep up with all the state changes and regulations?
Yes, I did.
For LAFCO?
Yeah, I was actually LAFCO counsel in Glenn County.
Okay. Okay. And then when this is, it's not a termination date on this, how do we work out the rates?
Well, the way that we have done the rates, we have followed exactly what was in the last agreement. And so basically what I did is the last agreement that existed expired on June 30th of 2024. And what I basically did was just redid that contract, and I made it evergreen, and so that way we wouldn't run into an issue where a contract terminates before we have a new contract in place. The rates that my office generally charges for these sort of things, this is what's called the A87 rate. And every year under A87, it's a complicated accounting process that counties use, but they basically take the cost that the county's cost to provide the services that we are providing. And so that includes my rate, all of everybody in the office's rate, the cost of rental of the office, every cost that's associated with running that department is taken into account. And then that is the A87 rate, which is then distributed to everybody that we do work for within the county. And it's not an actual dollar amount, but it's an allocation of
So the county allocates what the rate is?
Yes. And so, yeah, and so basically, if there are any changes in that rate, it fluctuates periodically. I think in Glenn County it changed 2 or 3 times a year, but it was always just the cost to provide the service. And I believe our current rate, do you happen to know what our current rate was? I believe it was
224 or something?
224.
Yeah.
Okay.
224 per hour.
Okay.
And so,
Something like that. I can't remember exactly, but.
yeah.
And one last question. During your years doing this, have you ever had a conflict of interest?
The only possible time was the one that I had in Glenn County, but we had the waiver of conflict of interest. And I didn't actually have a conflict of interest because the Public Works Department had taken a position that was different than the advocate for the annexation. I was never asked any questions from the Public Works Director. So when that issue came up, it was the first time I had heard of it. But it wouldn't have affected my ability to represent the county or represent the commission anyway.
Would you have a problem saying I have a conflict of interest on this situation?
Under the rules of professional conduct, if there is an actual conflict of interest that arises, I have to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for the commission? Seeing none, let's do a roll call on this one as well.
Yeah, I think you have to have a motion. and a
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, we gotta have a motion, sorry. Would you like to, anybody like to make a motion?
You want to ask?
Oh, yeah.
Comment?
Any public comment? No? Seeing none? Nope. No
Make a
public.
motion.
A second.
Okay, we have a motion and second by Cochran and Baines. Let's do the roll call.
Commissioner Baines?
Aye.
Commissioner Cochran?
Yes.
Commissioner Elphick? Commissioner Munger? Commissioner Wooten?
Yes.
Chair Conant?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, motion passes unanimously. Moving on to appointment of a commissioner to serve as a voting delegate on the Cal LAFCO Annual Conference, October 16th to 18th, 2024. Anybody like to go? Where's this one at, by the way, Doug?
This is in, near Yosemite.
Oh, near Yosemite.
Wow, nice.
Don't all speak up at once. Nobody want.
I went to the last one.
I can't go, so not that time of year.
It's perfect time of year. Walnuts aren't worth anything. Yosemite's nice.
Yeah, did you have a comment, Doug?
I was just going to say, if there's no one either interested, we don't have all the regular commissioners here, we could bring this back again at your next meeting if that's.
Yeah, let's do that. I don't find any overly eager commissioners.
Understood.
So we'll table this till the next meeting. Okay, executive officers report. Doug?
Yes, so a few things, actually.
There was one question on the last.
Manny, do you have a comment? You want to go, Manny? Is that what you-
I got to check with my wife, but I'd like to maybe go if it's all possible. Is it, I was told that it's okay if you're on the board, even if you're an alternate, you're allowed to go. But I'll put my hat in the ring, but I need to get the approval of the boss. I just want to let you guys know. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to bring up the next meeting. You're going to give us an answer.
I will be here next meeting. Thank you.
Okay.
Good job, Manny.
All right, thanks, Manny. I didn't think you were interested either. Okay, executive officers report. Doug?
Yes, thank you, Chair Cohen. So a few things to cover with you. So as you know, Cal LAFCO represents all LAFCOs. It's our association. They, at times, will sponsor legislation. They recently had a success with AB 3277 that was signed by the governor on, I think it was July 2nd. This bill really should have been approved years ago. So if you are doing a district formation and even if you don't have property tax that's in play, you still were required under the statute to do an ad valorem tax assessment. And so this has been going on for years. And so finally, the legislature cleaned up the LAFCO law and then did away with that provision so that if you're forming a district, property tax is not in play, you don't have to do a fiscal analysis. So that saves time and money during the process. So that was a Cal LAFCO sponsored legislative change. Also, I want to note a couple Sutter County items. So we are in the process of receiving an out-of-agency service request from Sutter County, actually Sutter County Fire. So they have a fire station, the Oswald Tudor Fire Station down at 1280 Berry Road. It's right across the street from Berry School. And so several years ago, you may remember that LAFCO approved an out-of-agency service request, and that's done when your either sewer or water extension is occurring outside the city boundary, but also the sphere of influence. And so Berry School has water quality issues. And so I know high arsenic is part of the problem, and LAFCO approved that out-of-agency service request. And so I believe that water line is being constructed currently. And so Sutter County Fire is having the same issue with the fire station across the street. And so they're going to make a request, which I would anticipate bringing forward to the commission in September. So just wanted to give you a heads up about that. Also, Sutter County's South County plan, called Sutter Point, is getting to the point of wanting to establish governance. And we don't know at this point whether that would be forming a new CSA, consolidating CSA. They're working through that. But I would anticipate over the next year, likely a proposal being filed with LAFCO for that reorganization of territory to occur. And that would provide governance of who would oversee the utilities, where would utility bills be paid for contain the cost down in the Sutter Point area. Are there any questions on that?
No.
Okay.
Did Neil, did you want to address the board on those? Nope. Okay. Because
I will say that I've met over the last couple months twice with the consultant, a county consultant, and then one of those meetings included county staff. So it's something that's working its way through the process. So.
Doug, is there any other public comments or questions? Manny?
So I'm kind of aware of the water line going to Berry School, and it's going to go to a certain location. Is the county going to get the funds to be able to extend it to get to the fire department? Because I'll ask Mr. Moon, I'm not for sure, but I believe it was going in on the east side of the school properties where it's going up to, and then they got quite a few feet between there and the fire station. Is it still on the east side of the property, sir? You can highlight me?
Yeah, good question, Manny, good question. And so it's kind of a win-win situation because the fire department needs for water. And so it's a long dead-end line, though. There's a looped 14, 16-inch line that comes down Railroad and goes out to Stewart. Mm-hmm. And so then this extension from that looped area where the water is continuously flowing, is a 4-inch line that comes all the way down Railroad and then west on Berry. And so you have this big, long line. And there's a mutual interest about how fast it turns over. The water, it sits in there, gets old, and there's some byproduct. Even though it's surface water, it meets city standards, but if it gets in there and it sits too long, you start to have water quality issues. So long story short, it's a win-win because if we hook to the fire department, they'll be filling their tanks and turning that water over faster. But there's some coordination, so I'm trying to get that paid, extending the line via a grant. As part of the project for that water quality that was given for the school. But at the same time, yes, there are some impact fees that will be due because of the connection. Also, the fire is interested in connecting it to the building for actual use in the showers and regular use, not just for not for the blow off. So that's behind the scenes. We're working with, first is to get permission from LAFCO. There'll be some coordination with the city as far as impact fees and meters, extraterrestrial agreements on how we pay the bill, and then some coordination between the school line and the fire department on how they work out those agreements for the cost. So there's some work to come. It's in the works.
Thank you. Okay, any other public comment?
I have one final item, Mr. Chairman.
Sure.
Okay, so in recent weeks, LAFCO was I was contacted as the executive officer from a citizen who reached out with a desire to initiate the process to, you don't get this very often, to disincorporate the city of Live Oak. And so the process, I've talked with this individual. They would need to file a notice with LAFCO of their intent to circulate a petition. It requires 25% of the registered voters within the city to sign and be valid signatures in order to even initiate the proposal. So I will keep you informed of how that goes. The citizens seemed very adamant about it. I did reach out to Sutter County's administrator, Steve Smith, made him aware of it. Also reached out to Live Oak's interim city manager, Mark Scott, and met with him actually earlier this week and talked about it, had a really good conversation with him. And so I will keep all parties informed as we progress. So.
Okay. Thank you, Doug.
Through the chair.
Yes.
This was brought up back when I was on the board.
Oh, really?
Brought up, and we looked at it, and it was really not in the best interest of Sutter County to take on Live Oak because of their debts. So, yes, it was quite a few years ago, but we looked into it. It was not a very good interest for the county at all.
Okay. Thank you, Larry. That perspective is interesting. And any other questions or comments from the board or commission, or the staff or public? Seeing none, unless there's something else good for the order, meeting is adjourned.